And with the Rugby World Cup in full swing in France, we now welcome rugby writer Dan Retief as we look ahead to the Springboks clash against Scotland later this evening. Dan, thank you very much indeed for your time. So the Boks taking on Scotland, how important is it to get off to a winning start, in particular in a tournament like this?
Well, Griselda, especially in this pool that we're in, we face Scotland and Ireland, who are in the top 5 in the world. And I think the way it's panned out with the All Blacks losing to France in the opening game, we now know the path that we want to take. And the path that we want to take, obviously, is to win our pool, to come first in our pool, which will take us to a quarter-final against the All Blacks. And I think having seen ourselves demolish the All Black pack at Twickenham and then seeing France do very well against the All Black pack, we would prefer to play the All Blacks in the quarterfinal. So there's only one route to that. We have to top our pool, and we have to start this afternoon by beating the Scots. And that is a more tricky game, I think, than most people realise. The Scots are a very well-trained team.
Yes.
They're a very settled team. I see some of their people even describe them as the best Scots team ever. The Scots play a brand of rugby that the Springboks tend to struggle with. They play a wide game. They move the point of contact. They play very fast, whereas the Springboks play very direct rugby. And so they're going to be a very tricky side. But in a World Cup, and as we've seen the quality of the rugby, it suddenly becomes about not losing rather than trying to win. And that will be what the Springboks will be focusing on. Get this first step done, get it done with a big W on the scorecard, and then we take it on.
I mean, much has been made, of the Springboks forward pack's power. Do you expect them to dominate today?
Yes, I think there's no doubt that our starting pack, followed by our bomb squad, are they are probably the best forwards in the world, and especially our starting front row will be sent, and locks will be sent in to soften up the Scots. But the Scots are well equipped. It won't be just a walk in the park. We're going to have to be really focused. We're going to have to play at our full strength, and then again we've got our bomb squad. When Oxnard Chair comes on, and Trevor Nyakani and Bongi and Banambi, when the other team is tired and we can send those kinds of players, Arches Neyman, send them into the fray, I think that is immensely tough for the opposition. So I expect our forwards have been instructed by Rassie and Jacques Nienaber. You have to play like you played against the All Blacks. You have to start fast. You have to get domination. And the way to beat the Scots, obviously, is to take possession away from them, take the ball away from them. And that's what the forwards will be up to. Because if you let a fly-off like Finn Russell, very tricky customer, he could be very dangerous. He does amazing things with the ball. He will obviously try to use the cross kick against our wings. Cheslin Colby and Curtly Aronson, they're quite short. So the kick in the air will be a tactic the Scots will be trying to use. So the key is our pack needs to get on top. Yeah. They need to put down a marker, and they need to control the ball and take it away from the Scots.
Speaking of those two, South Africa also having some exceptional finishes in their lineup. You mentioned Curtly Aronson as well as Cheslin Colby. How dangerous are guys like this behind a dominant pack of forwards?
Well, I'm sort of expecting that, unlike the last few years where we've used the box kick a lot and not used our backs, that our coaches will have a few cards up their sleeve to use our backs, because Cheslin Colby and Curtly Aronson are immensely dangerous. They're tiny guys, but boy, if you give them the ball, they're very hard to stop. They know where the try line is. One of the interesting clashes is going to be little Curtly Aronson against big Duan van der Merwe, one of our own boys. Duan van der Merwe being one of the top wings in the world. He's a British Lion. He's an immensely big wing. He's very dangerous. And I'm sure that it's a David against Goliath situation. And I have no doubt the Scots will try to expose Kirtley's size. But what we've seen from him is as brave as the day is long. He's got a big heart. And I always recall Brayton Palser saying to me about Jonah Lomu, that people said, Brayton, you can't stop Jonah Lomu. And Brayton used to say, well, can he stop me? And I think that will be the case with Kirtley.
Yeah. Captain Siya Kolisi managing to recover from injury, I mean, just in time for the World Cup. How important is that, you know, in terms of leadership in the group?
It's very important. I mean, it's an amazing recovery. So all credit to his surgeon. And you know, Siya has become, how could you describe him? The Madiba of rugby world. You know, he's an iconic figure now. He's a man that stands out. We saw at Twickenham after we beat the All Blacks that he's immensely loved. He's very popular, and he's become an outstanding captain. You know, and I think what we have in him is the referees respect him. He's learned how to handle referees. So he's important. And I think what the Springboks have done, you know, they've obviously with Siya having been out for a long time, he will be replaced. So they've kept Vermeulen on the bench. So they've prepared that the next most senior captain goes onto the field. So we won't be without that. But Siya is playing very good rugby. I mean, it just shows how dedicated he is, how determined he was to defend the Webb Ellis Cup.
So, who are the biggest threats, I mean, in Scotland's side?
Well, Finn Russell, I've mentioned him. I've mentioned Duane, but they got a good all-round pack. They have a good front row, good locks. I think we could have an edge in the loose forwards, and that could be quite important. They got a quick fly. They're good all over the park. They've got a lot of pace in their back. So we really need to control the ball and play the game according to our terms. And the way we want to play it. But as I say, I'm quite excited to see us using our backs. You know, there have been signs that we've got other plans. And I tell you what, if we get a bit of front foot ball and we can run onto the ball, especially with Manie Libbok, you know, he's a young man who takes the ball to the line. He's not scared to attack. He's a beautiful passer of the ball. He throws lovely flat passes. And I think he's really growing into the role. He's starting to be comfortable. He's in one of the key positions, the number 10 jersey. You know, they say the whole rugby team turns around. The axle is the number 10, and I've been impressed how he's grown into the role. And really, I'm looking for him now to step up and become that test match fly-off that we're looking for.